The African continent needs to achieve real political change, especially in countries south of the Sahara. Could that be one of the reasons why North African countries always try to disassociate themselves from the continent? We will look at the role of North African countries in the political equation of the African continent in our subsequent episodes. It's laughable that African leaders hardly get anything right, even when presented with the best opportunity. The recent wind of change caused by the war in Ukraine and the role of NATO has not only strained the relationship between NATO countries and Russia but has created an opportunity for African countries to make decisions and demands to achieve economic and military independence. Even more significantly, the war coincided with a period when the spirit of African nationalism was hovering within French countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, toppled by the military. Unfortunately, rather than take a firm and independent stand, they foolishly gravitate toward Russia as if Russia is a better option when dealing with developed countries. And as usual, their supporters are clapping, unable to understand what real political change means. The cheering crowd, who have thousands of relations in Western Europe and the United States but not in Russia, still don't understand what political change means. They think being against the United States and the West is as simple as allying with Russia. Or better still, allying with Russia would resolve Africans' economic and political problems. Any reasonable African should ask why African leaders and their supporters always think they must ally with a Western country. Why do African countries not think that if they need progressive change that would yield long-lasting results for the betterment of their citizens, the first step is to practice the policy of non-alignment? What is the fuse with aligning with Russia after failed attempts with Western countries as if the fault is ultimately theirs? Some are busy burning French flags in jubilation. If issued a visa to live in France, they will reject it. The truth is Africans are tired of every single Western country, not France alone. France is only victimized because she's notorious in every economic and political dimension of the 21st century. The harm that countries like the United Kingdom, Belgium, and Germany have caused Africa cannot be catalogued. When one hears the agitating crowd scream, "We have uranium, gold, diamond, bauxite, petroleum, and more," one would think if left alone, they could process and consume these resources. Can't African leaders and supporters borrow the ideologies of these charismatic and pragmatic leaders, Josip Broz Tito of Yugoslavia, Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt, Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, and Sukarno of Indonesia? Or better still, Mao Zedong of China? Unfortunately, except Ghana, most of these countries compete with the West, if not better off today. Is it not laughable that Africans have hundreds of crises in a continent plagued with boundary skirmishes born out of colonial disputes and disagreement, economic and socio-cultural crises, and backwardness? On their own, they have been unable to resolve any conflict but want to broker peace in a conflict that involves Russia, a country that would never accept the outcome of any decision they reach. Even when allowed to assume the roles of peacemakers, they cannot handle it. The fact that they cannot come together and say no to any foreign influence or interference indicates they are not even ready for Professor PLO Lumumba's call for unity. Besides, Russia doesn't have what it takes to give the kind of support Africans need to counter the power of the United States and other Western countries. Most of the businesses Russian investors would engage in will be clandestine mineral exploitation. This is what Africa wants at this time. Furthermore, African leaders posturing cannot move the West. That's what they are known for. They say something and immediately do the opposite because they don't have what it takes to defy the West. They will be leaving Russia in Western airplanes and stopping in the very countries they are opposing to still beg for loans and economic assistance. Let's face it, African leaders have a long way to go when discussing power broking. Think about it.